For most of our lives, artificial intelligence felt like something straight out of science fiction, right? A distant future. And then it felt like almost overnight it just arrived. It's writing our emails, it's making incredible art, it's even debugging our code. But to really wrap our heads around this moment, we have to ask a really fundamental question. What is this thing we've actually built? So let's get into it. And this is the absolute heart of the puzzle. This is the big question. How can we have a piece of technology that can compose poetry so beautiful it can actually move you to tears, but then you ask it what 2 plus 2 is, and it might confidently tell you it's 5? Seriously, understanding that contradiction, that strange mix of genius and incompetence, is the key to understanding everything else about this new world. So to really navigate this, we're going to need a good mental model, a way to think about a technology that feels both all-powerful and at times surprisingly dumb. So let's start with the basics, the dawn of synthetic minds. Okay, I think the best way to think about this is what some people call the universal hammer. Now, in the past, software was always a specific tool for a specific job, right? You had a screwdriver for a screw, a wrench for a bolt. But modern AI, it's like one single tool that can be applied to almost anything. You show it images, it becomes a paintbrush. You show computer code, it becomes a world-class programmer. But there's a catch. You know the old saying, when all you have is a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail. And that can lead to some very weird outcomes. Now, you can really see that evolution here. AI didn't just appear out of nowhere. It started way back with these really rigid rule-based systems. Think of a simple chess computer, where humans programmed in every single possible move. It was powerful, but super brittle. Then we get to machine learning, systems that could finally recognize patterns on their own, like your email spam filter. But the real explosion, the reason we're talking about this right now, is over on the far right, generative AI. These are systems that don't just recognize things, they create them. So let's pop the hood and look at the engine that's driving this entire revolution, the large language model, or LLM. Now, you may have heard it called the world's smartest parrot, and honestly, that's a shockingly good way to describe it. This is the single most important thing to understand. An LLM isn't thinking like a human. It's not reasoning or feeling. At its very core, it's a prediction machine. It has basically swallowed the entire internet, every book, every article, every website, every conversation, and it has learned the statistical patterns of how we put words together. Its one and only goal is to guess what word comes next. And this visualizes that process perfectly. So if you type in the phrase, the best way to cook pasta is to boil, the AI is instantly running the odds on every possible word in its vocabulary. Water has, say, an 85% probability of being the next word. It has maybe an 8% chance, and eggs a 1% chance. A really conservative AI will almost always pick water, but a more creative one, it might occasionally pick a less likely option, and that's exactly where you get surprising and sometimes brilliant results. So if the parrot analogy is what it does, this next one is how it behaves. And this is probably the most useful analogy of all. Think of an AI not just as a machine, but as a personality. A high school student who has read everything, has memorized it all perfectly, but hasn't really understood any of it on a deep conceptual level. Let's break that down. The student can recite historical dates or scientific facts flawlessly because it's all memorization. But give them a brand new logic puzzle they've never seen before, and they'll struggle. And hallucinations? That's just the AI version of bullshitting on an essay. When it doesn't know the real answer, it just writes something that sounds really confident and plausible, trying to get partial credit. And all this talk about parameters, that's basically its IQ. A model with billions of parameters is like a high school freshman. One with trillions is like a PhD student. It can just handle way more complex. You know, every revolution has that one single moment that changes the game, the spark that lights the fire. For modern AI, that moment happened less than a decade ago. It was a true Big Bang that set us on the path we're on today. Yep, that's the year, 2017. A handful of researchers at Google published a single paper, a paper with a simple, almost poetic title that would fundamentally change the course of technology forever. And this was it. This was the paper. It introduced a new kind of AI architecture called the transformer. See, before this paper, AI models read text sequentially, one word at a time. And the problem was they had terrible memories. By the time they got to the end of a long sentence, they'd literally forgotten what the beginning was about. The transformer solved that. The massive breakthrough was a mechanism they called self-attention. Instead of reading word by word like before, the new models could look at an entire sentence or even an entire document all at once, and it could weigh the relationship between every single word and every other word simultaneously. This is what finally allowed it to grasp the true context of language, no matter how complicated. Let's look at a concrete example. Take the sentence, "The animal didn't cross the street because it was too tired." For years, older AIs would get totally confused by this. What does it refer to? The animal? The street? But as you can see here, the attention mechanism instantly draws a strong connection between the word it and the word animal. It just gets it. This seemingly small thing was the key that unlocked our ability to process and generate language at a massive, massive scale. Okay, so now we have a machine that can understand and generate language at an incredible level. But the next great leap in this evolution is about moving from just talking to actually doing. The chatbot is finally getting hands. This distinction is absolutely critical to understand where we're going. If you think back, 2023 was the year of the chatbot, right? That's when we all learned how to talk to AI. Well, 2025 is shaping up to be the year of the agent. That's when AI learns how to act for us in the real world. And here's the best analogy for that. A chatbot is a vending machine. You put in a very specific request, a coin, and it dispenses one specific answer, a can of soda. It's completely reactive. An AI agent, on the other hand, is like a personal chef. You don't give it a command, you give it a goal. You say, plan a fantastic dinner party for Saturday, and it becomes proactive. It makes a plan, it checks what's in your fridge, it orders the groceries, it even sends out the calendar invites. It has tools, and it has the freedom to use them. So really, the key shift is from these simple, one-off conversations to autonomous, goal-oriented action. An agent isn't just sitting there waiting for your next question. It has access to real tools, a web browser, a code interpreter, calendars, you name it, and it can loop through tasks on its own, trying and failing and trying again until it has achieved the goal that you set for it. And the results of this are just incredible. We're seeing this trend called vibe coding. People who have never written a line of code in their lives can now build real software just by describing what they want to an AI agent. They can literally say, okay, add a login screen here, or, you know what, make this button pop a little more. And the agent just does it. It writes the code. It is completely democratizing who gets to be a creator. So with these incredibly powerful tools now out in the wild, being used by millions of people, our entire digital world is being remade right before our eyes. And that's creating both absolutely breathtaking new things and, well, a whole lot of noise. The video wars are a perfect example. Right now, a battle is raging between platforms that can generate stunning, broadcast-quality video from just a sentence of text. You've got OpenAI's Sora, which is like the artist. It makes these beautiful, cinematic, almost dreamlike scenes. Then there's Google's Veo, which is more of a practical tool for creators, focusing on consistency. And you've got Runway, which is becoming the choice for filmmakers who need granular, shot-by-shot control. The line between what's real and what's generated is blurring faster than we ever thought possible. But of course, there's a downside to making creation so easy. It's led to an absolute tidal wave of what people are calling AI slop. This is just low-quality, often bizarre, mass-produced content that's designed to do one thing: game the algorithms on social media. You might have seen those viral shrimp Jesus images on Facebook. That's a perfect example of this weird synthetic absurdity that's built to do nothing but hack your attention. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of the most important ideas. The LLM, it's a very smart parrot playing a game of guess the next word. A hallucination, that's our high school student bullshitting on an essay to sound smart. An AI agent, that's the personal chef who can actually go out and do things for you. And multimodality, that just means the AI finally has eyes and ears, not just the ability to read. These are the core building blocks of our new reality. In the end, this technology is really just a mirror. It's been trained on all of our collective knowledge, all of our creativity, but also all of our flaws and biases. We have to face the fact that we are no longer the only form of advanced intelligence on this planet. We have, for all intents and purposes, built a synthetic mind. And so the defining question of our time is no longer, how do we make it smarter, but rather, how do we learn to live alongside it?